Professor Carvalho's work in Argentina. He's written a paper looking at long COVID and also showed very good results. And what's interesting with his paper, because he says, if patients are treated in the first place with ivermectin, they don't get long COVID in the first place. So hopefully fewer and fewer people will be having to suffer with long COVID if the government introduces ivermectin as an early treatment for COVID. But in the meantime, long COVID sufferers can be, I think, looking at ivermectin as a possible treatment for them, along with a lot of other measures, not just as a single treatment, because there's many reasons why it may help.
So if we have seen so many studies and clearly can see that ivermectin works, and at least it improves a little bit the condition of those who suffer with COVID infection, why UK is not really demonstrating any studies or trials on ivermectin? Are you aware of any work that currently undergoing on ivermectin? Any trials?
In January, it was announced that the principal trial would consider ivermectin in treatment of acute COVID. But to my knowledge, they have not included it yet. And we have asked reasons why, but we haven't really had a satisfactory answer. In terms of treating long COVID, there's long COVID treatment studies going on at, I think, University College London, and I also approached them to include ivermectin in that study, and it seems like they won't be doing that either. So it is surprising that there hasn't been an interest, and I can't say why that is.
It's really sad to know that there are no large studies undergoing at the moment, but I would imagine we would need to include it because it does show good practice elsewhere. And in case we want to treat long COVID sufferers early, we still would consider those protocols which are already available as again available in the US, and they all include ivermectin.
And about 2 months ago, I started writing a protocol for a long COVID trial, and it involves giving ivermectin for 5 days, basically a randomized controlled trial, ivermectin or no ivermectin for 5 days with 0.3 milligrams per kilo, kind of in between the 0.2 and 0.4. And then we were going to follow up just with standardized questionnaires on improvement and so on, just at 7 days, 14 days, and 28 days. But then I thought, we would probably have difficulty getting it through the MHRA because they seem to be the blocking point of trials and evidence on ivermectin. Also, I was concerned about randomizing people to ivermectin or no ivermectin because I thought it might not be ethical, because we're pretty sure ivermectin works or would be better than nothing because there's so many people suffering. So it would be my preference not to do a randomized trial. But if there was interest in such a thing, then it would be possible to conduct, and we could put together a protocol for the MHRA to consider and hopefully authorize.
What we see in our community, in our group, people can't wait. People suffer today and they go and see their GPs today, and they have no answers to what they can take and how to improve their symptoms. So people start educating themselves, and which is great. I think that we finally got up to this point that people start reading more, doing their own research and understanding their symptoms in a way that there are trials elsewhere. So maybe we can try ivermectin in UK.
Hopefully the obstacles will start easing, because it's going to be very difficult for them to justify not showing more of an interest in ivermectin our research paper really does show without a doubt that ivermectin needs to be used for COVID, for acute COVID. And given that there are no specific treatments for long COVID, I can't see how the MHRA can block trial applications. But I think it needs to be, I think if there's raised public awareness and if people with long COVID are saying what is going on and writing to the MHRA and saying why isn't ivermectin being looked at and why can't they access it, I think it would help. We really need a groundswell from the public to actually express outrage and concern.